Hello, this is John Locke, and today I'm answering a great question that I saw in the Reddit SEO forum. A person asks, hey, like our local newspaper, they're trying to sell us on doing a print ad, but there's also like a digital ad, and they're selling us on this SEO benefit that we're going to have from it. So what exactly is the SEO benefit? So a couple things here. The salespeople might not actually know what the SEO benefit is either, and they might be reading off a script. But what it sounds like to me is you're buying an ad in the local paper, and then they're going to run it on their website as well for a while. Now you might get a couple click-throughs, but what you're looking for is a permanent link. And what this sounds like it might be is a temporary link. The ads and stuff like that, they're usually no follow links, so they don't pass page rank to your site. While it's there on the site, it probably will give you a little bit of SEO benefit, but if possible, you need to look for permanent links and not just temporary ones. So here's some ideas of how to get local links from authoritative publications. Now, as you mentioned, your newspaper in your town, in most towns, is going to be one of the most authoritative sources. But you can look at other publications as well. But let's look at the newspapers. One thing that I have found that happens sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, is depending on how your newspaper has their website set up. If you host an event at your place of business, at your facility, for some kind of community event, like an open house, or you're doing some charity thing, or whatever it is, and you're hosting it at your business, sometimes they set up event pages, and they will say, here's places where events happened, with a link back to your website. So the way that their content management system works is you have to have a location of where the event is, and so if there's events there in the future, they can reference it. But if your newspaper has it set up like that, and you might want to take a few hours to research this, hosting an event at your place that gets mentioned on their website, mentioned in the newspaper, might be a way to go. That's one thing that you could definitely do for a permanent link. Some newspapers also, they have partnerships with larger networks, and I've seen this before too, where businesses, they buy a one-time package or a monthly package from the newspaper that's partnering with a larger network, and they have a profile page with a link back to the website. Now these things kind of add up into the local SEO, your link profile, but there's other ways that you can do this too. If your city is large enough, it might have what's like an alternative free weekly newspaper, something with cannabis ads or maybe massage parlor ads. It might have like the club dates, all the different listings of bands and musicians that are playing at different clubs. We have one like that in our area called the Sacramento News and Review. They also have sister publications, the Chico News and Review and the Reno News and Review. Now each of these has their own free alternative weekly with a lead story and a bunch of recurring columns, and then all the features that I just mentioned. But they have a website that's been around since the dawn of the internet almost, and they have their entire backlog of stories that they've ever published. Now sometimes when a business is mentioned, they will link to their website. And not every time, but if you can find a way to get your business mentioned by doing something newsworthy, and get a feature story or be mentioned in some sort of thing with a link back to that, that could be beneficial. Now, a lot of these local things are not about upselling your business. You're going to have to do something that is related to the community, that's not upselling your business in order to get mentioned in the news. That's an important thing. You have to do something that's beneficial to or newsworthy for the community, that's not just a straight up sell for your business, usually to get these types of links. Another thing that you might do is host an event at your facility. Like I mentioned before, I want to mention that here in town, a lot of the local agencies each year, they did this for a while. I don't know if they're still doing it. They did this thing called Kegs on Legs, where they would have an open house, like a networking event, with food and different things like once a month, like a different agency would host. But these also got mentioned on Eventbrite because I think this is where the ticketing was done through. So those set up permanent links from the venue page for that particular thing, or from the actual event page. That might be a way to go too. Another thing that you could look at is local magazines within your area. Here in Sacramento, we have 3 major magazines that deal with the community. There's Sacramento Magazine, Comstocks, and Sacktown. Now, a few years ago, we invested in a featured ad. Now, they wanted us to go deeper on this and spend more money, but it did cost a little bit, but we got some good assets out of it, such as the photo that you see on my About page was actually from that photo shoot. So it was money well spent overall. But what happens is each year they do, here's like our spotlight faces of Sacramento, and you can basically buy, or you can lock in certain words or certain phrases, like here's Sacramento's best dentist, or best orthodontist, or best law firm, or whatever. But they have different words, and we invested in that at the time for WordPress web design. So there should actually still be a page up, because they have the archives of each one digitally. There's links back to each of these places. So the law firms and the dentists and the doctors and the yoga instructors and us for that 1 year, we have links back from these feature pages. So these things are they cost a little bit, and it might help your local SEO a little bit. So those are things to look at. Local magazines. Does your community have local magazines that you might get featured in, where they actually have the reproduction digitally? You're looking for permanent links. You're not looking for temporary ads. Ads are only temporary. Another thing that you could look at is city voter. Some cities have a city voter, and they're called different things in different cities. Now here, they run a contest each year. It's called the A-List. It's sponsored by the local TV station, KCRA. But it's part of this larger thing, cityvoter.com, and it's in different metro areas where they have all these different categories where you can compete in. If you get people to vote on it, basically your vote on your business, best car repair, best pet sitting, best auto upholstery, or best restaurant in this category. There's different categories, but basically those are no followed links that are permanent, but they're also local links. So that might be something to look at. Another thing that you could look at is local directories within your area. Here in Sacramento, there was a site called sacramentotop10.com. For a long time, we were trying to contact these people, trying to get a listing on there. Now, I don't know what was going on. I could never get a hold of the owner, but recently it changed hands, and a person here that also does like SEO and social media, hi Julie, acquired this, and she's running it now. But we were finally able to get a profile up there. Now that site was been around for like a long time, so it holds a little weight as far as like a local link. What are some other things that you can do? Look for any type of publication, no matter if it's a directory, if it's an event type of thing, any type of listing, whether it's a newspaper, whether it's a magazine. If they have a site with permanent links on it, that's what you're going to want to be looking at. Another thing that I want to mention too, there's another site out here, bestelkgrove.com. We tried to get on this site a few years ago. They wouldn't let us do it because our site, or our base of operations, wasn't in Elk Grove. And to be frank, there's another like web designer actually running the site, so they were really picky about it. But look for things like that, best of whatever your town is. There might be a website like that. I know there's different ones out here, bestofcarmichael.com, best of Elk Grove, best of Sacramento. Then they all have different rules for getting on there, but your city, your metro area, your town might have something just like that. And I've noticed like even, mid-sizes or even smaller towns tend to have these types of contests. And they have these types of websites where you can get mentioned and your website might get linked. So don't just look at your local newspaper and don't buy ads which are temporary, but look for things where you're going to have a permanent link. And I've hopefully given you a few ideas of how to get localized links that might be helpful to you. Other ways that you can do this: sponsor local sports teams. I've seen people get links from this. Sponsor youth soccer or baseball or football or Pee-wee League or whatever it is. If they have a website where they list sponsors, hey, that's an opportunity. But if somebody calls you up and they're like, hey, we're going to print your logo on the back of the t-shirt, that's not really going to do anything for your SEO. You've got to think about this as digital assets. Where is this going to be, like, permanently? Where can I get a link on a website? I don't care if it's printed up on a flyer. I don't care if it's printed up on a t-shirt. But and I don't care if it's like a 3-month ad. What I'm looking for is permanent links. And you got to think of that same mindset, because that's the game. I hope that gives you some ideas. My name's John Locke. My business is Lockdown Design and SEO. And we're here publishing videos every single day for the manufacturing and industrial space, helping them get SEO ideas. So I'd love to see you subscribe. If you have an SEO question, leave it in the comments below and we'll answer it out in a future video. That is all I have for you today. And I will be here tomorrow publishing another video. Until next time, peace.